My video today is going to be on young adult verse novels, why I love them and why you love them too. Now, because this is going to be a book recommendation video, I am wearing my book dress. So I've spoken previously about my love of verse novels. They are what I write as well, but I'll just briefly run you down why I think that you teenagers will love them. So they've got a much shorter word count. They're usually around 30,000 as opposed to 80,000 words. They're beautiful, they're lyrical, they're easy to read, and because they are so short and so easy to read, you can get them read in, say, 2-3 hours. So it's not such a large commitment either. I've got a number of my favourite verse novels to recommend to you today. Some of them are by the same writers, some of them I've spoken about before, some of them I'm talking about for the first time. The first one that I want to talk to you about is The Poet X, which is by Elizabeth Acevedo. Now, this is about Xiomara. She's a teenage girl living in Harlem with her overbearing parents, particularly Marmee. And this book is about how she learns to voice her frustrations in the school's slam poetry club. It's very powerful, although to be fair, I could say that they're all very powerful because they are. My second recommendation is called The Long Way Down, and it's by Jason Reynolds even. Sorry, Jason. Both of these first two writers are American. So this is about 15-year-old Will. It is set the day after his older brother has been shot and has died, and the whole book takes place in a 60-second lift ride. He has got to decide whether he's going to kill the man who shot his brother or not. And at each floor, he is joined by a ghost from his past. So this is a really interesting concept. I haven't seen anything like this before. Now, my next choice is Moonrise by Sarah Crossan. Now, this was the first ever verse novel that I read. A couple of years ago, I was a judge on the UKLA Book Awards, which is judged by teachers, and there were three verse novels on the long list that year, and they were these first three that I'm discussing now: The Poet X, The Long Way Down, and Moonrise. And Moonrise was the first one that I read, and we do actually teach it to Year 9 now at the school I work at. This is about Joe, who is 17, and he hasn't seen his older brother Ed for 10 years, which is because Ed is on death row in Texas, having been accused of killing a cop. His execution date has now been set, and Joe goes to Texas so he can be there for his brother and visit him at the prison. And it's about them rediscovering their relationship and what death row means for the people who are on it and their families as well. The next book that I've got is also by Sarah Crossan, and it did win the Carnegie Medal. Now, I need to apologise to Sarah Crossan. This is a copy from our school library. Here we go. It says One by Sarah Crossan. When I borrowed it from the library, it actually still had its dust jacket, but obviously something has happened to it. Normally there is an image of the two girls on the front cover. So this book is about Tippy and Grace, who are conjoined twins. They're 16 years old, and we see them going to mainstream secondary school for the first time. We also see their health start to decline, and this book is great. It's about their relationship, working out what it is to be a teenager, what school is really like, but having to face up to the reality that they aren't feeling very well as the book goes on. Next, I would like to recommend Run Rebel, which is by Manjeet Mann, and this book is on the long list for the Carnegie Medal this year. So this is about Amber, who feels trapped at home, particularly by her father and his expectations. They have a difficult relationship. She is a very able runner, and her teacher encourages her, but she has to hide the fact that she runs and that she's competing as a runner from her family. This book is about how she has to get ready to fight for herself, her mum, and her sister. Now I've got two books to recommend, both by Louisa Reed, who was my mentor on the Right Mentor programme, so I'm very biased, but I think her books are brilliant. This is from her most recent book, and it is called Wrecked. Now, this book I have spoken about previously, but it's about Joe and Imogen, who are that supposedly perfect couple at school. However, these two are involved in a tragic accident where somebody dies, and as a reader we see things start to unravel for them. The other book is Louisa Reed's first verse novel, and this one is called Gloves Off. It's about Lily, who has just turned 16 years old and she's getting bullied at school. For that reason, her dad teaches her to box so that she can begin to fight back and to find her own self-worth as well. She has to gain confidence in herself. The next book that I'm going to talk about I have spoken about before as well, and that is The Black Flamingo by Dean Atter. Now, this book is about Michael. The book starts off when he's quite a young child, actually, and we see him grow into a young man as the book develops, as the book progresses even. He is finding himself and working out where he belongs, and he is on a journey to becoming his drag persona, the Black Flamingo. Beautiful cover, this one as well, absolutely gorgeous. Right, again, I have to make an apology here. Sorry, Lucy Cuthu, I'm going to recommend Blood Moon by you, but I don't have the actual book here, which is because I've lent it to a genuine teenager. So what I've done is I've made my own version. So this is not Blood Moon by Lucy Cuthu. This is my interpretation of the front cover. It is very pale pink and it's got a blood splodge on the middle of the cover. Now, the reason is I think this is a very interesting book and it should be in every school throughout the UK, because during Frankie's first sexual experience, she gets her period, and they kind of laugh it off, her and the boy that is involved. He's very nice. But then people find out and a graphic meme goes viral around the school and beyond. And this book is about how she has to face online shaming and how she has to deal with it. So I definitely think that this should be in schools everywhere. Now, my final 10th suggestion would be my book. Obviously it's not published yet, but I've written a verse novel as well, and it is a modern retelling of Macbeth called Lady M, and it is about a teenage Lady M and her school life. I don't want to give too much away about it. It's currently with editors at the moment, so we'll see if any of them buy it. But what I will say is that Duncan, in my version, is Lady M's twin, so that complicates things.